Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Stephen and Walter Live. And I trust you can see us and hear us okay. I ask that every week because, you never know. it, we could have technological difficulties. Okay, so we've got lots of people already here. So let's see who is here. We've got M. M, you're the number one today. You came on first. Wow. And Jan is here. Patsy and Donna and Suzanne and Persida and Diana and
Jan, of course.
Oh, well, I said Jan already. You don't listen to anything I say.
I don't.
No,
Why?
you don't.
Why should I?
Well, you should because you miss important things. And you need to know important
Like
things.
what?
Everything I say is important. I strongly suggest you believe that. Designing Jay is here. It's Joanna. Oh, yeah, Joanna. Hi, Joanna. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie, Marilyn, and Janet, and Kristen from upstate New York, and Sandy's here. And Jan's already greeting everybody, my ambassador for the Idiot Quilter. It's our ambassador there. So nice to see everybody. This is a long weekend for the Americans, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Memorial.
Yes, Memorial Weekend. Yeah. With that. So happy Memorial Weekend to all the Americans on here. Hope you're having a good time. Weather here is gorgeous today. It's 26 degrees Celsius. The sky is blue. Not a cloud in the sky. And it's not supposed to rain for the next
indoors
week.
all day.
Yeah, we've been indoors all day. Well, we'll tell you why we've been indoors all day. Of course, we are old, and so that's what old people do, right? Kenosho is here. Hello. And okay, well, looks like we've got the important people here. Barb's here. Hi, Barb. Hit that like button. And if you are not a subscriber and you've been coming here on a regular basis, you should subscribe.
Well, I thought only subscribers could log on to the chat.
Oh, that's right. So I guess they are all subscribers, aren't they? Yeah. No, there's something about a 5-minute rule.
I thought you said changed it so that because when you were getting the
oh, that's right.
The
weird people, yeah.
You changed it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, never mind. Sue is here. Hi, Sue. And Colleen is here. Hello, Colleen. And Marianne. I don't think I've missed anybody so far. Probably a few more joining us very shortly. Okay, so that takes us to jump right into everything we're going to talk about today, which is going to be very eclectic, but then it is that way every week, isn't it? So what have I been working on? And Walter has things to show you too, but I will show you what I have been working on. If I find my right button here, here we go. Okay, this long strip is the first part of the Mirror quilt that might be for my sister-in-law, might not be. I think it's in her color house, and there aren't any prints. It's grunge fabric from Basic Ray. This is one panel. There are 4 of these panels that go together. They're a little tricky to sew together, but I got everything to match up okay. So that is a good thing. I'm not that sold on it.
So mind you, having said that, yesterday when you were working on it, seeing it live, now seeing it up in a smaller setting, like when you're far from it, actually I'm beginning to like it.
Well, I think it'll look better when the other 3 panels go onto it, and then it's got a fancy little border too that goes on it as well. It's very modern looking, I think, which is not out of my wheelhouse, but not something I often do. I tend to be a little bit more traditional in the patterns that I pick. But anyways, we'll see how this works out. But you'll notice getting all those intersections lined up, that was a little tricky, but I'm happy to say that they are lined up with it. So, a lot of clipping going on, pinning, clipping, I clip. for it all. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess I'll get working on it some more on Wednesday. This week's going to be a little busy week for a variety of things. I have some house cleaning to do before we go away. The house is a little overdue. And you know, I don't know about you, but everybody else, but I can feel the grub after, because I have a routine and I do it at the end of or the beginning of every month, and the whole house gets done and everything like that. And I went a little over time because we were away in April, and didn't come back until first part of May. So, you know, actually we came back tail end of April. So I kind of let it go because I cleaned just before we went away and we weren't here. So wasn't that dirty. But now I just feel, ooh, got to get it done. I hate house cleaning. Actually, once I get into it, once I'm in the zone, I'm okay. Away I go with it. But I have to get in the zone. But I definitely, tomorrow, I'm going to start. It may take me into Tuesday. We will see. I'm not going to do any sewing or anything like that until my house has been cleaned. So, hint, hint, bathrooms. I don't do bathrooms. Well, I do the bathroom down here, but you do the other two with it. But anyways, and what else? I do have something else to.
I have done them. I do them periodically during the month and stuff. Yeah. But I don't do the full floor wash and everything else until a little less often. So
we need new floors actually in the bathroom. We need new bathrooms. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of things we need around here, but we'd rather travel. And so, okay, so that was one thing, and yeah, I'm making these. These are my new version of my Gnome Jars. These are Gus the Gnome Jars. They're much bigger. Those ones I notice how.
Some of those tops are they dented or?
No, they're not dented. They're they're a little rough from the glue that's on the bed. I need to wash them off a little bit on a couple of them because it was thicker there. The one over on the far side almost looks like it's deformed, but it's not. It is perfectly round. It's just must have been the angle. This one right here on the end doesn't have a cap on it. That one I ran out of filament just before it finished. So that one is now holding my bottle of Acorn precision piecing stuff because I can't make the printer pick up on it. So anyways, these are future gifts for people I will not mention. No, don't want to show that one yet. Okay, and so what I've been... Well, that's interesting. Wow, that's something new. Huh, look at that. It comes up with a picture on the screen. They just had an upgrade. It looks like it picks up whatever's on your... Oh, well, I don't know how that works, but whatever. So that's what I've been working on, and I've been working on that what do they call it? Healing Waters quilt. It's the one that did this go back, or is it just a delay? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I've been having fun with that Healing Waters one, that indigenous quilt. You know, not so. I have it on Lucy. I had it on Lucy. I finished quilting it today. I'm going along quite nicely. I made one kind of, well, not really a mistake, but it's a really dense quilting pattern using, and I decided to double the batting. Maybe should not have, because I have a feeling, now it may soften up after I wash it, but I have a feeling this quilt might stand up on its own. When I get, like, fold it like cardboard, okay? And I don't know what went wrong, but I ran out of thread and a bobbin, so I put in a new bobbin and got it all lined up in that. And then I noticed it was sort of crunching up the quilt a little bit. Not really, like, not a tuck, but it was like it was pulling it over, and that wasn't right. Then I looked at the back of the quilt. I stopped the machine. Oh my God. You should have seen the back. I don't know what happened. Whatever. So I stopped the machine and I thought, okay, what am I going to do about this? Well, let's let the quilt get finished first. And then I thought, well, then I can roll it back and I'll pull out those stitches and see if I can get the pattern lined up and just do this one section. I had a section about this
Well,
much.
is it like a thread nest or something? Or?
No, they had eyelashed, but they had all, well, it was a combination of a thread nest and eyelashing. I think what happened was, I think when I pulled up my bobbin thread, I think I pulled up a double strand. It hadn't been cut like where it should have been, and it was looping over. But I was able to get it all pulled out, and I was able to realign the pattern in that one section. There's a slight overlap, but a man on a galloping horse going 3 miles an hour will never notice that on it. Walter knows it's there. He'll be looking for it. He'll be sitting there going, look there, I can see it. And you know what I say to him? The big F word, and it doesn't mean you're my favorite person. With that.
What other F word is it? Favorite. Funny.
Read my lips. Anyways, this is a PG show. Not really. So anyways, yeah.
Fabulous.
I will show it. I don't need fabulous. Yeah, right. I don't know if I'm going to have it ready before we go out to the East Coast or not. I might have it. I may not. We'll see. So I may show it. Well, I won't be able to show it until we come back from the East Coast. More about that in a moment as far as videos and things and what I have planned for that. So that's what I've been working on. Now, what's Walter been working on?
Well, I was altering a pillow for a friend.
Uh-huh. A big, huge pillow.
Yeah, it's a seat cushion, which I'd never really done before.
It's a cheap pillow.
And it's done. So,
and when he says pillow, it's a great big huge, where are my hands?
It's a love seat.
Great big huge thing.
It's a love seat cushion.
Yeah. So
and it was the original one he had was too big. Well, it was actually the for a bigger love seat, and this one it's an outdoor love seat, like a rattan one. And it was he had a bigger one before, and now he bought a smaller one, and the cushion didn't fit. So he asked me if I could make it smaller. So I did, and that was a lot of work actually. Actually, it wasn't that bad, but I'd never done it before. So.
And what else have you been working on, Walter?
We went to Sew Day yesterday, so I almost finished this shirt. I just need to put buttons on it. And but all the buttonholes are done and everything else, so I have this shirt done almost. I would have had it done today, but I got sidetracked today. And
it would look gorgeous on me. Bring out the blue in my eyes, but apparently it's for Walter. He's making his own shirt for him.
Well, I made one for you last time.
I know, but I can never have too many.
So then, So what else I did today?
No, wait, hold back.
Oh,
I'm coming to that. Let's in its due time. So you've been making shirts. So let's just see who's joined us. Sue's working on thread sketching stars on an honor flag quilt for a veteran. That sounds nice. Julie's here. We are, Julie. We're having great weather. Teresa's here. Ron is here. Ron, you didn't do your usual line about Walter. I'm disappointed. Crystal's here. Just started cleaning. I have a 3-year-old, so it's never clean, and I always feel gross to me. You know, if you mount them on a handle, they make an excellent toilet brush, because those little heads fit right under the rim. Yeah. Colleen says, Stephen, that blue and gray swirl is lovely. Despite that, did I mention how much I dislike blue? Oh, geez, Colleen, I made you a wonderful quilt. It's all in blues. Sorry, guess you can't have it now. Okay. Teresa DeJohn is here. Got the 2 Teresas. Barb likes your fabric, Walter. And so does Sandy. And so does Jan. And she loves the one that you are wearing. That's his bowling shirt.
It's a bowling one. It's another bowling one. I have 2 of them. And I don't really like either one of them. But I thought I haven't worn it for a while, so I'm wearing it today.
Yeah. Hello,
Kristen. I don't like the collar, actually. That's what I don't like. And I don't like the way the button band goes down. So... But,
you just need a bowling bag and a bowling shoes.
Yeah,
I know. Kristen's here. Hi, Kristen. So that's what we've been working on. There's something else Walter's going to be talking about in a minute. But before we get there, he mentioned already that we had a sew day at the club yesterday. There was, what, 4 of us? Yeah.
Yeah, well, one couldn't stay very long, so.
No, that's right. We did have 5 at one time. Well, counting Brendan, there was
4 of us, yeah.
And then when Karen...
another lady came in the morning for a couple hours because, and then she had a class at at Ultimate Sewing for at 12:30.
Yeah, so she had to leave for that. So that's where I worked on the panel that I showed you for the quilt for my sister-in-law, maybe for my sister-in-law. It's not definitely for my sister-in-law. She may not like it.
Might be too busy.
Might be too busy for her. I don't know. And Walter worked on his shirt. It's always kind of nice to get out, and although there's not that many of us, it's different people.
Yeah, and it's well, you tend not to maybe do as much at one of those because people chat to each other when we're there, and there's some distractions. But,
yeah, there's more distractions.
But I mean, it was kind of nice to see these people before again because we've associated with them before, and it was kind of nice to talk to them.
Yeah, got caught up with them. One of the ladies there, Gail, she's a elementary school principal. She's
an elementary school secretary.
Oh, was she a secretary? I thought she was a principal.
No.
Oh, she sounds like a principal.
Yeah, well, it sounds to me like they get her to do all kinds of work.
Yeah, well, when she was talking about timetabling and stuff like that, well, that's okay.
Sounds like the principal delegates things,
I guess. But anyways, she's always making dresses and outfits for herself, and she's a really great garment sewer. And she's a lady who knows exactly what kind of clothing looks good on her for her build and the whole bit. She was working on this dress, and she likes very flowy dresses, and they look actually quite good on her. She's really quite talented when it comes to that kind of thing. And we heard from the other lady that was there, Karen. She's on her second lot of refugees from Ukraine. And
she had a bad experience with the first
ones. And it sounds like this one's getting a bit...
And it's getting to the point where her welcome has been...
they've gotten just a little too comfortable, you know, kind of a thing. So, I mean... I have mixed feelings about this whole business with, I am sure there are many, many of those people who come here and very much appreciate it all, but I can't help but think, though, for some of them, it's an opportunity to get into, to become citizens of our country.
Well, actually, we did hear some things about some of the Ukraine refugees that are coming over. Actually, are not living in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
They happen to have Ukrainian status and are living elsewhere and are using it as an opportunity to immigrate to Canada.
To buy, basically fast track getting into Canada and getting
Canadian Which I didn't know about.
No. Well, the way it came up was, this was interesting. This lady was saying about somebody whose husband was with them as well. And I thought, whoa. I thought that the Ukrainian men were not allowed to leave, that they were all being conscripted into the army and everything for the war, kind of a deal. And she said they are. But this one particular woman's husband is Asian. And he's not a Ukrainian citizen. But this is what Walter just said. This is how they're getting into our country, because they can claim Ukrainian, because the guy is married to a Ukrainian woman. I guess they can.
And they didn't even have to necessarily be living in the Ukraine.
No.
Because they've got Ukrainian status, they can apply for refugee status. And it sort of flies under the books type of thing as to what a refugee is. Which doesn't make sense, because I mean, you'd think they were supposed to be escaping a war-torn country. So if they're actually living in another country, but they're Ukrainian.
I think there's a whole lot of stuff here that we as Canadians do not and are not told what's really going on. Now, this is going to sound like conspiracy theory, I know, I am sure there are many Ukrainian people coming here that really appreciate the fact that we've opened our doors to them, and they appreciate the help. And I do not,
and that are legitimately,
yeah, and I do not doubt
here
that it's a horrible situation in our country. But let's look at how we get our information. Where do we get our information about what's going on over there? Majority of the information that we as Canadians are getting is what we see on the news. And I've talked about this before. You cannot trust what you hear on the news. If it bleeds, it leads. They twist it to attract an audience because they want to attract advertisers. It's all about making money. So what we're being told and what is really happening may not be quite the same thing. Second of all, someone said yesterday, well, our government's being very compassionate. No, our government, I'm sorry, Canadian government is not a compassionate government. No. The Canadian government, the people in power, the people in politics have ulterior motives, and those ulterior motives usually revolve around two things: maintaining their power status and making money of some sort. So there is a reason that we are doing this, and I say we, our government is opened its doors to Ukrainians, and it's not on strictly humanitarian reasons. There's a trade-off here somehow. There is some down the road advantage to doing this. I do not trust politicians. No matter what comes out of their mouth, you know that they're spinning it, and you know that it's for their own advancement. It is not for the good of anybody else. So yeah, you may differ with me on that opinion, and maybe I'm cynical, but then again, I am a grumpy old man, and that's how grumpy old men think, okay? And that's what I believe. So after hearing what this lady was saying about the things she's been going through with the two families that she's, opened her doors to and the whole bit, but the world takes advantage of Canada, in my opinion. You know why? Because we have this one magic word, and that word is sorry. We get accused all the time of being an apologetic society, and what really that means is that we take on all the blame for whatever, and we just, you can wipe your feet on Canadians, kind of a thing. We have big welcome things on the front of us. Come on in, step all over us. And I would like to say this, and I hope it never comes to this, of course. Yes, we do live in a very good country. We have a great life here in Canada. We're very, very lucky in the world in comparison to many, many countries out there. I know that. However, if the roles were reversed, if the United States invaded us tomorrow and tried to take us over, would the Ukrainian people or the Polish people or the Dutch people or all the other nations in there, the ones that sang our praises during the Second World War and the First World War, would they come to our aid if we needed them? I don't think they would. No, because out of sight, out of mind, as far as they're concerned. Canadians are good to be used for whatever. We're known as peacekeepers. We're known for humanitarian things and stuff like that. We send millions and billions of dollars to, everybody else in the world and that. But if we ever needed it.
I mean, the lady that she is currently hosting it's her and her daughter, and her husband is fighting in the war. But she's getting a little comfortable and expecting basically the host to drop everything that they're doing and look after them.
Well, like drive them here and drive them there. And then there was that whole thing. I only caught part of the conversation. You might cut more about the driving license or...
Yeah, well, to drive here, you need a driving license, right?
Well,
so
yeah,
she got her, G1 or whatever, which means you still have to have somebody in the car
who's
that is a licensed driver,
driver.
Right? So you can't drive on your own. And if you have a G1, you can't if you can't drive on your own, you can't get insured.
Yeah.
Right? So right now she's learning how to drive, and the host is allowing her to drive their car, and as learning how to drive type of thing, right? But there seems to be an expectation by this family or whatever that when they get a full license where they can drive on their own, they can just go out and drive on their own. And the problem here is that if you could drive on your own, you need insurance.
Yeah.
And the host is not really willing to pay for insurance because insurance could be several hundred, if not $1,000 or so, for getting somebody else on your.
But apparently they expect to be chauffeured wherever and gives the host a 5-minute notice of when they need to be somewhere in the whole bit. Sounds like kids, doesn't it? I need to be at the soccer field now. Why didn't you tell me that earlier in the day? I forgot. Just like kids kind of a thing. And the other thing I asked her too, like she was talking about food and everything. And I said, well, is our government, do you get some kind of subsidy to help out with costs? She says, no. And you can't even write it off on your income tax because you can't declare the refugee family as dependents. So, okay. And I said, well, that's not right. She says, if I have to cook for 4 or I have to cook for 2, what difference does it make? Well, okay, it does make a difference.
Well, yeah, the other thing she said is some things that she hadn't really anticipated was if she wants to just do a casual meal one night or something like that.
Like she said, potato chips and beer.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
She can't do that. She's kind of expected to provide dinner every day.
Something nutritious in the whole bit. But, that's not right either. That people, especially with what it costs right now for groceries, So this is what I mean. People are getting taken advantage of. However, on the other hand is, she's done this once before. She had a bad experience. And then immediately right after that, she did it again. So I'm saying that this lady might have a little bit of passive aggressiveness in her or something. Because on the one hand, she was sort of complaining, and rightfully so, about, the situation. And on the other hand, she's making excuses for them. So which is it? Which is it? Just like I said, you don't know for sure. Okay, let's catch up on what people are saying here. Julie says vintage bowling shirts are very fashionable. Hi, Elsie. So you're on trend. Teresa is working on purses and wallets lately. Have to get back to the Alaskan quilt for my niece. Yeah, the Alaskan quilt's a really nice pattern. I've looked at that one. I hold back on picking another project because you know me, squirrel. I have other ones to do. Brenda Fry is here. She loves your shirt, Walter. Jan says, you need a nice shirt like Steven's kitty shirt. Those colors would look great on you too. Walter doesn't like things too bold. This is probably the boldest one right now you've got.
Yeah, when that. I thought, I asked Steve if he would wear it, and he said he would, and he does, so.
What, the kitty?
The kitty shirt.
Of course I would. My weed shirt, they're two of my favorites. Walter made this one, 2 of them wearing my gray one. This is my more formal short sleeve look. I saved this one for more
I have one like
occasions.
that, but it's in blue. Same type of fabric, only it's blue. Yeah. Or teal, I guess.
Margaret's here. Hi, Margaret. Elsie says, what did you make? Who, Elsie? You mean Walter? He made a shirt. That's what we're talking about. Don't know well. If you come
I think they were trying to figure out what else I was doing today.
Oh, well,
that was sewing related.
Okay, well, we're coming to that. Jan says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Jan. Teresa says, I wish I had a sense of fashion beyond t-shirts and jeans. Oh, Derek's here. Hi, Derek. He was sorting out his fabric stash and got a bit too involved in finding things I forgot about several years ago. Yeah, when you do that, it's kind of fun, isn't it? Because, I bought that and I was going to do something with it and I didn't do it. Billy's here. Hi, Billy. Now, Teresa asks, are there sanctuary cities there?
Where in the other countries?
No, I think she means, you mean Canada, don't you, Teresa?
No, I don't know. Maybe she's saying that these people are coming from other areas because they've moved there because of a sanctuary. The way I'm looking at it is, okay, you're in the Ukraine, you move to a sanctuary city. I'm not sure if this is what she means. And then you get a refugee status in Canada.
Don't know. Maybe
I don't know if
maybe you
that's
can
true.
clarify that for us, Teresa, because I'm really not sure what you mean by sanctuary cities. Ron says there's always some people who know how to play the system no matter what safeguards you put in. That's for sure, Ron.
Yeah, I know the group of people that she had the first time, basically, like they're supposed to, these hosting situations are supposed to be an interim until they can get their feet on the ground and get a job and be able to look after themselves, type of thing, right? But the first group that she had basically didn't want to look for work, didn't want to do anything on their own, and ended up just...
Now, that first group she had, there was a man.
Right, there was an elderly man that was there.
Oh, he wasn't the husband?
No, I don't think so.
He was a like grandfather or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. With that, so I don't know.
But they decided that they figured that oh yeah, we're being looked after.
Yeah.
And so they didn't bother going out looking for work, and they were up all hours of the day and night,
eating
watching
food,
TV,
taking 12,000 showers,
games, taking showers all day long. And in the meantime, the host was working, and her husband was still working, and they were basically causing a lot of noise in the middle of the night when they were trying to sleep and stuff like that. And they were doing nothing to make their situation better, and that striving to get a job and move out of the hosting home.
Well, I think that Karen, the one that's the host, I think she's a very nice person, very open-hearted, warm-hearted person for doing this. However, I also think she's a little bit sick in the head, because if you have a bad experience one time, do you go put yourself in the situation?
Yeah, I also think that she isn't making the rules.
She's lost her control.
Yeah, she's lost her control, and I think she did that that mistake in the first group by saying, look, you're only not. And this lady that she's got with her now, she's helped her get a driver's license and everything else, and she's got a job right now and everything. But she said to her, well, when you move out on your own, and the lady said to her, well, what do you mean when I move out on my own? Aren't I going to stay here? And
No.
the lady said to her, well, no, this is just a temporary situation until you get your feet on the ground and you can move out on your own, right? And this woman that's there doesn't seem to think that that's what she wants to do.
No, which makes you question what the motive is behind the immigrant family, the refugee family, kind of thing. Like Ron says, people play games and everything. Now, didn't she also say, Karen, the host, that she and her husband are going away for a week or two?
Yeah, they're going away for a couple of weeks, and I guess they have an above-ground pool in the backyard, and they don't want them to be using the pool.
Well, no.
I'm not sure why.
And the lady put up a fuss about it, because she said, like, she has a 13-year-old daughter there. She's, her daughter loves to swim. She can swim and the whole bit. The point is, she's 13. There needs to be adult supervision. If that girl has an accident in that pool, Karen might be liable.
That's true.
For it. The host might be liable if the girl drowns or whatever. But on top of it all, they're leaving these people who are essentially strangers in your home for whatever length of time, and she really thinks she's going to come home to a house.
I personally wouldn't be doing that. I think I'd be wary about that situation.
Yeah, like least case scenario of it all would be that your house kind of needs cleaning. Worst case scenario could be, you've been robbed blind and they've gone off. They found a place to live, all right, because they sold all your jewelry. and everything else. Or they take your car out someplace when they're not supposed to and have an accident or something like that. I hope she's got her keys with her and not doesn't so they can't get into the car. I don't know. I think she's being a little bit naive, and I also think she needed to establish ground rules and stuck to them right from day one when they opened the door. Like this, and put them on a timeline. And I think our government should be doing something about that too, because it wasn't the average Canadian citizen saying, "Come to us, please come to us." It was set up by our government, and so just like everything our government does, they get the ball rolling, but who ends up carrying it all the way? The people. Brenda's here. Hi, Brenda. And let's see. Colleen says the U.S. tried it already and lost. Yeah, it's called the War of 1812. I'm more afraid of the attack coming from over the North Pole. Are you talking about the Russians or the Chinese? In that case, yeah, who knows? Derek says, I have to admit that I've never heard anything negative about Canada on our UK news, and our media absolutely love Prime Minister Trudeau, though not difficult to be better than our politicians over here. Yeah, we hear lots of negative things about British politics over here, but usually because we watch it on YouTube. Hi, Stephanie. Marilyn says, how many shirts have you made now, Walter?
To be honest, I haven't taken account.
I've made
a few.
Probably a dozen.
Yeah, at least.
Well, I've got quite a few, so I don't know. Dale's here. Hi, Dale. And Faith is
Probably
here.
More than a dozen.
So she says, I haven't heard much about the new coffee maker lately. Oh, it's still working.
It's working fine.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Although I have cut back on the macchiatos. Okay. I mean, it might have got much having a caramel macchiato every day. But, no, love it. It's working fine. Alexandra's here. Hi, Alexandra.
In fact, I tried an espresso a little while ago and found I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, he said an espresso, not an espresso.
Nespresso.
From our Nespresso machine.
And
yeah,
then,
they just
and
don't.
And then a Keurig, actually, I didn't like it at all.
So here we have two coffee makers that we don't use. I brought the Keurig down here because my idea was on days when I have so days and that, then I don't have to go upstairs for it. No, I don't really like the Keurig coffee. I like the one out of the new machine better. Maybe we need another machine down here.
We're spoiled now because it grinds the beans and everything.
Yeah,
so
it is. It's nice. We really like it. Shirley's here. Hi, Shirley. Teresa's not just the kids swimming in the pool, but a pool needs daily upkeep or it will be green overnight and cost dollars to get back in the working connection.
You're correct.
Yeah, true.
It needs maintenance.
Yeah. Julie says, what agency in Canada handles the refugee placement? Can't Karen tell them she's done with hosting?
Yes, she can. She did that with the first group of people. But I don't honestly know what agency is looking after them. I haven't really discussed it that much. I know that when they were placed, both sets, that she made sure that they qualified for health care and everything else.
Yeah.
She didn't want to have to pay for or didn't want that to be in a situation that if something happened to them medically that she was on the hook for that.
So Andy's here. Hi, Andy and Linda. Elsie says, please send me the recipe for macchiato. I'm curious. There isn't a recipe, Elsie. What you do, Elsie, is
actually you can look it up online.
Yeah, but we have a type of sugar-free syrup that is just a sweetener. You put a little bit of that, about 1/4 of an inch in the bottom of your mug, and then you hit the button on the machines that says macchiato, and you put some milk in the milk frother that automatically
because we have a machine that automatically grinds your beans and will set up the macchiato minus the sweetener, and it will froth your milk for you and add it together. So it's sort of like making a cappuccino type drink.
Yeah, so what it does, if you're not familiar with a macchiato, is that you got the syrup on the bottom, then it puts steam through the milk, and as Walter said, our machine does it automatically. We don't have to sit there and use a hot spout like they do at Starbucks or places like that. It does it automatically. It goes into the mug, and then it grinds the beans, and it puts in the coffee on top of that. and then it's done. And then usually you use a little bit of caramel type syrup, kind of like a sundae sauce, and you just drizzle it on the top, and you've got a caramel macchiato. That's all it is. All there is to it.
Well, the machine we have is it's a Philips.
Phillips. It's got a funny.
Yeah,
Italian.
It's got an Italian name to it as well. Now I can't remember the name of it. Because they bought out an Italian espresso machine company.
Stacy Lee is here. Hi, Stacy. Hope you've wrangled in your fabric haul that you got. That you got some really great pieces there. Teresa uses her cure.
It's a Philips.
Why don't you just cut me off?
Oh, sorry. It's a Philips.
Well, you did it anyways.
Seiko machine.
When someone says, "Why don't you just cut me off?" What you're saying sarcastically is, "Shut up and let me finish." Then you come in. Okay.
Oh, it's a Philips Seiko machine. Seiko, Saeco, and which they've Philips bought that company out and has produced these machines.
God, you're persistent.
Oh wow.
Really? God. Fine. Be that way. I was going to say, Teresa says she uses her Keurig more as an instant hot water source for tea.
However, they're very expensive.
Yeah. So, Elsie, we've answered that question too. Julie says, back to quilting talk. I started my first ever quilt incorporating a panel print by Maywood Studios, making blocks from char and packed out divorce. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, Julie. Julie, stop trying to take control of the conversation. It's not your live. It's not about you, Julie. It's about us. Really? Just write it down, Walter, and show it to the camera. Are you going to do what she tells you to do?
No. Wow.
You're as bad as that Karen. Like, geez, really? Stacy Lee says, "Oh, I'm still wrangling the haul and the credit card bill." Oh, well, it's fun though, isn't it, Stacy Lee? So have you found it? So you can show it? Okay, he's still looking for it. All right.
Okay, these are the machines that you get.
There's a couple of models.
There's different model. Actually, that's the one that doesn't frost it out, but hang on.
We have the top of the line model. It has 12 different coffees it can make, and it's got a milk frother built into it like we were talking about, and it does it all. It does it all.
This is the one we have. This one. You see, it does the automatic milk frother and everything. And it lists in Canada right now for $13.99.
That's not $13.99, people.
Yeah.
That's
$13.99 Canadian. But we paid, it was on sale when we bought it, it was $11.99.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, this is not, this is not a cheap toy, basically, but it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Actually, its footprint isn't that bad, Elsie, for counter space. It doesn't really take up any more counter space, maybe a slight bit more than the Keurig did.
Yeah.
Which is amazing in itself too.
The only complaint I have about it is that the water reservoir is not that big.
Yeah, and I find that quite annoying because it seems anymore every morning when I get up, I have to fill it up. I start my coffee because someone decides he likes coffee in the late afternoon because, Walter's day doesn't start until the late afternoon. But it does
have a water filter built in so that you can...
And that's what uses up a lot of the space in the water tank of it. So, what would be really nice is to have it plumbed in.
You can buy the bottom of the line model at Canadian Tire, which sells right now for $8.99. But I bought it from a kitchen supply place in Toronto, online actually, called Consiglios or whatever. And I ordered from them, and they actually were quite fast in shipping it. It was I ordered it one day and got it a day late. I got it pretty much the next day. So
yeah, So far, so good. What's the warranty on it like?
It's a 2-year warranty.
Okay, well that's not bad because most things that but like that kind of appliance you only get like a year. Okay, so that's okay. So hopefully it doesn't break down. Okay, speaking about breaking down, I got my serger back. You knew that I cut through. Well, I tried to cut through a pin, which you should not do, and it broke my blade. That only cost me $113. And of course, the ironic part is that Jan on here, she says to me, "Didn't you get an extra blade with it when you bought it?" Yes, I did, and I didn't realize that I had one. And I'm not just the only idiot. He didn't know. He's got a serger too. He didn't know it came with an
I
extra
have
blade.
almost the exact same serger. Mine's an Elna, but it's actually identical to the one he has.
So, anyways, it's all fixed, but no word about my iron yet.
Well, we did hear yesterday from one of the other guys we were taught that has the same serger. I said, did you realize that it comes with a spare blade? And he said, yeah, but he said he couldn't get the blade off to replace it. So he took it in.
Well, he said that the screw that was holding it was really, really, really tight. And he just did not want to do anything that was going to like strip the screw or something like that. So that's why he took it in. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll never have to try it myself because I will never use
he's
pins
a
with
little
it.
limp-wristed.
Well,
so.
he is. You know, you really, well, whatever. On that. Andy says, guess it's Mr. Coffee for me. They still have that? Mr. Coffee machines? I think I had one of those.
Yeah,
ones.
it's a what do you call it? Pretty much luxury expense.
Yes. Yeah. It was his idea.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about buying one of these things, and I don't know what I was looking for, but I was looking for something else online, and I happened to run into the kitchen store that sells these in Toronto, and they had a really convincing advertisement for it.
Of course, mind you, Walter saw the magic word, sale. You know, if he sees the word sale, he's got to have it. So there you are. Colleen says, my trip to Ottawa involved no quilt stores because the one we drove to was closed. Instead, I got lime green runners and a second pair of purple runners. I'm adding borders to my current quilt top. Okay. Well, that color combination of the lime green and the purple is very on trend right now, Colleen. So you'll be very, very with it in your home decor. So back to the serger and the serger's fixed. It's back. It's home. That's great. No word about my iron yet. So I don't know what's happening there. But I did have a couple of people, or one person, it was Shirley. Shirley wrote this the other day. With the reason my iron went in for repair is it was still working, but it was giving off this smell that smelled like somebody had taken a crayon and put it against the sole plate and was melting it down. And I've had a lot of suggestions about what that could be. Although when I took it in for them to examine it, of course, then it wasn't giving off the smell. But Shirley wrote this, and I thought this was worth sharing. She said, years ago, we had bought a new home. Kids were young and had the smell of a wax crayon melting. Thought they had dropped one down the register. Called an electrician and found out the smell was coming from the coating around the wires in the walls melting. A faulty breaker was the problem, causing the breaker not to trip when the circuit overloaded. So that makes you kind of wonder, because they did find that the tubing, the wire, whatever, the water goes into the machine and that, was dripping. It was a little frayed. So they're going to replace that. But I'm wondering, and that's also kind of the area where the smell I thought was coming from. So I wonder if there's probably a tube of some sort in there. Maybe, I don't know.
In the iron itself.
In the iron itself.
Think it was actually the
we don't think it's the wiring.
Because it was going through a
very powerful surge protector. So. Like, no, we're not talking a bar with 4 little things on it. We're talking, a biggie kind of a thing. So I don't know.
Well,
we'll see.
Teresa, it was $1,300 for a coffee maker, not 13,000.
Not 13,000. I just bought a car for 12,000 for my son. Okay, no, not 13,000, Teresa. We wouldn't have one at 13,000. If I had a coffee maker that cost $13,000, it better like go to the store, buy the beans, and serve me the coffee when it's done, and also make dinner at that price. And I believe that's
she just retracted it.
Oh,
maybe it was 1,200.
maybe, probably. Yeah, maybe. So, anyways, I did buy something else new this week in preparation, actually, for Stephanie's retreat when we go down to Georgia at New Year's time. I needed a new carrying bag for my a new trolley bag for my sewing machine, because I have a really good one, but it works, but one of the supporting arms on it, braces, broke off. And yeah, you can still use it, but I don't like that. So I went into Ultimate Sewing. I had to go pick up the serger, and I picked up a new bag. And I really like this bag. It's the same company. They're called Toto or Toto?
Tutu.
Tutu?
Tutto.
Okay, well, whatever. And I'll show you a picture. So this is the bag I bought. And that's what my old bag was too, except my old bag was a little bigger because it was meant when I bought it to fit my 15,000, which I no longer have, the combination embroidery and sewing machine. And at the time, you could only get them in like a couple different colors, and they were solids. Well, now they have these prints. And so I thought, oh yeah, I like that. I will get that. So I did. And it's great. But here's the problem. You'll notice I have what looks like an old belt on both parts here. That's what they are. They're old belts because there is no way you can lift the bag. There are no handles. There's a handle on the top where it's a zipper top, but you get your sewing machine and other stuff in there, the bag's kind of heavy. And I feel that if I was to lift it from that handle, one, it's kind of awkward to lift it from that handle because of the distribution of the weight, and two, your zipper might, come apart, break off, or something like that. So I don't want to do that. But there is no other place on this bag where you can lift it up. Yeah, you have a handle for dragging it around because it's on wheels, but nothing else. So I got thinking about it. I thought, well, if this company had designed it with a couple of straps on either end of it, you could lift it up. And I thought, well, wait, I have these old leather belts. So I got them out. I put them on. I punched a new hole in them, and the whole bit worked like a charm for this. I'm a genius. So I wrote to the company, and I sent them a picture with these on here, and I said to them, if you ever do a change, because this bag has been changed. It has better wheels on it than the old bag. They're a little bit more heavy duty.
And these bags are not cheap to buy.
No. This is like $400 you're looking at before tax. $395 at Ultimate Sewing, and then tax on top of it. So I did write to them. I got an answer back. Thanks. Okay, in other words, we're not going to bother with that. Well, I think your bags would be much more marketable if you had something like that.
Yeah, well, they needed some competition.
Yeah, really.
You put out a bag that is better than that one.
Yeah, but so anyways, but I am happy with it, and they are good bags. Just that they need that little extra accessory to it.
So this wasn't your iron reconditioned. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
But it was guaranteed to be that supposedly they had replaced minor things to it. When we did take it into the repair place, they initially looked at it, and they said that with the exception of the dripping from the
cable
hose
or whatever,
everything else in the iron looked okay. But they were going to keep it and test it to see if they could reproduce the smell.
The smell again. But also they looked inside of it and said there aren't any deposits in here or any corrosion or anything like that. Well, I keep it clean.
I mean, it was still working.
Yeah, it was still working.
It was just
but
that
the smell was toxic.
So
it was toxic. We had to open up the doors and the windows so you had cross ventilation to get rid of the smell. That's how strong it was. So Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, so that's my new bag. And I mentioned on So Chatty the other day that I did get my Temu order. I am impressed with Temu right at the moment. I don't know how long that's going to be, but out of all the things I ordered, as you saw, if you saw So Chatty, and if you didn't, you might want to check it out. I was impressed. I got Wonder Clip-ish things, but they're just as good as the original Wonder Clips and a whole lot cheaper. And I'm going to buy a whole lot more of those when we come back from the East Coast. I bought those LED color lights. I really love those. They're fun. I want another string of those so we can have it long enough to put them up out in our deck area or under the deck. The cotton, the quilting cotton, not as bad as I would thought. I mean, I wouldn't use it to make a quilt, but I put it through a test. They were 4-inch squares. You got 54-inch squares, various designs. The designs are kind of thing, but there were 50 of them for $3.98. I sewed 4 of them together in a 4-patch, and I threw them in the washing machine, and I didn't do anything. Some people said, well, you should serge around the edges because they'll fray. But I said, that's fine. I don't care if they do.
They want you to fix the viewing screen.
Oh. Sorry about that. Forgot to hit the button. Oh, they want to see us. Okay. Anyways, I didn't bother serging around the edges. I just wanted to see what would happen to them. Actually, they came out not too bad with it. Came out a little wrinkly, but not terribly so. You know, no more than I'd expect regular quilting cotton. So, no, I won't be buying any more fabric from them. But for crafting, like if you were doing something like not for quilting or that kind of thing, I don't think you could go wrong with it. It was some little novelty item or something like that. So I will be ordering more things from Temu. We'll see how well this goes along in the future. Teresa says she has a Toto that just fits my Gnome 7700. You have to hold it just so, cross your fingers, and spit out nickels to get it in, but it will go in. Yeah, well, there's different sizes. The biggest one, I think, is 26 inches, 26, 28. That's the one I had for my 15,000. Because I needed the biggest one. The one I bought is a 24-inch. And then there's a smaller one at 22 inches. Now, here's something. And I asked at the store. The difference in price between a 22-inch and a 24-inch was $125. That's the only difference between the two bags, is one is 2 inches longer. Okay? And I said, why 125? The answer I got was this. So I don't know if it's the company or it's the store. But really? Go for 24 inches. You know, or like don't, or well,
if you can go, if your machine will fit into 22 inches,
go for that. That's what I meant. Yeah, with it. But you know, we have a tendency as quilters to like jam as much stuff as we possibly can get in that bag. I do. So, yeah. Elsie says, Steve, you own a Gnome M7, do you not? How do you like it, and do you think it was well worth the price? Well, we've done a review on that, Elsie, on One of the Idiot Quilters, so you can look back in the backlog of those. I can't tell you exactly when we did that, but to short answer to this, Elsie, is yes, I love my Gnome M7. Jan has an M7 as well.
I mean, the only downside of having an M7 is that the size. I mean, it's a plus.
It's a heavy machine.
It's a plus to have size with the large throat, but it's not great because it's too heavy to transport.
If you're going to do quilting on a domestic machine, this one has a 13.5-inch throat, which is nice. Now, it does not have a free arm, which, depending, if you're a bag maker or a garment maker as well, that might be something that will bother you with it. But I like it. I think it's a really good machine. I'm very, very happy with it. Now, having said that, it is really kind of too heavy to take to a class or a retreat. It'll kill you. You'll definitely need the biggest bag to take it in, because it weighs about 40 pounds. But I have a travel machine. I have a Skyline S7 Gnome, and that's my travel machine, much lighter, and I love that machine too. It's a great machine as well. Just if you wanted to do quilting on it, it only has about a 9-inch throat, something, or is it 11?
Like
no,
I have
9.
yours isn't as big. I have the 6700P, and it has an 11-inch throat, and it also doesn't have a free arm. But I've only had one situation when I've done a garment where it would have been nice to have a free arm. So
yeah,
other than that, it works for me. So
I almost bought a 9850, which was a little less in price. Not a heck of a lot of difference in the price. But Walter talked me into this one. He said, I thought there's stuff on it I'll never use. I thought, and they were toting it as a quilting thing, and there's on the panel on the front of it, and I've never used this feature. It actually has instructions on putting blocks together. Very basic blocks.
The what do you call it? The M7. It has the 13-inch throat. I thought he was going to be using that was before we got
That's
the long
before I
arm.
had the long arm.
And that he might be using it for quilting. And I said, to me, the 9450 doesn't have as big a throat, and I think it would be better if you're going to do any quilting on your domestic machine to have the bigger throat.
And Walter's all about deep throats, so
Yeah. So So you like it, right?
Yeah, I do. No, I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I want to get rid of it. No, I absolutely love it.
Now,
it's a great machine.
Even my 6700P is actually pretty heavy to I take it to classes or whatever, but it's
and when
heavy.
Walter says his 6700P, it was my 6700P, and I gave it to him when he started to get into sewing, because I bought the combo embroidery sewing machine that I no longer own, the 15,000. With that. So, and that was a great machine too. It's a real workhorse, that machine. You've never had a moment's trouble with it.
Oh yeah, it's a great machine. I love that machine.
And it'll sew through anything. Like, it is a great machine, and it's a little less expensive than the M7. But again, what's it, 11-inch throat?
It has an 11-inch throat.
Which isn't bad. I did some.
It is toted as a quilting machine, and it does have the. There's actually two versions. There's I think a 6600 and a 6700. The 6700 has the built-in walking foot feature, whereas the other one doesn't have the built-in walking foot.
Well, feature. No, you. Wait. What do you mean built-in?
The AccuFeed. The one I have has the AccuFeed.
Yeah.
But the 6600.
Oh, the 6600. Oh, okay. I thought you meant my M7. Mine's got walking foot pregnant too. Gwendolyn says, hi Gwendolyn. Stephen, that's such a great idea. Genius. Thank you, Gwendolyn, for recognizing my potential as a genius. Yes. I haven't ordered one for my Bernina because it was too heavy to lift. They need it. The straps would make the bag so much better. Did you send them a photo? I did. The photo that I showed on here. Yes, I did. All I got was one word. Thank you. 2 words. Which says they're not interested. So,
Well,
whatever. It doesn't matter. What I've done will work for me. So, Carol's here. Hi, Carol. Temu has free shipping on any order today. I'm considering making a purchase. Do you remember what the larger size of the clips you bought was called? No, large clips. I think that was it. They look like the large Wonder Clip ones. So, and there's a lot of different ones. Check out all the prices. This is one thing about Temu. Same products, different prices around, or different quantities at different prices. So you need to don't jump on the first one you see. Look through. That's one thing that's kind of annoying about them, I find. And they had free shipping when I ordered 2 weeks ago as well. I have a feeling this might be, I don't know if this is a promotion thing or this is something they're always going to do. In fact, today I got a thing that said they had all kinds of stuff on for $1.99 Canadian and free shipping. And I thought, no, we're going away. I don't I'm not ordering something when we're away, and I'm sure they'll have that again. But it was a lot of the stuff that I had ordered and other things, like a lot of sewing stuff with it. But I have a feeling they probably run those on a pretty regular basis in there. Teresa says, I'm doing well with Temu too. Bought a dress for my mom and to go to a wedding. She loves it. It cost me $35. Okay. I wouldn't be buying clothes, but, whatever. Elsie says, I was considering upgrading my S5. Free arm isn't an issue. 9450 is the one I'm considering. The 9450 is a good machine.
I believe the 9450 has a free arm as well.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
And it is a nice machine, and we're not knocking it.
No.
Or anything like that. It is actually a premium machine. It's nice. It has the full screen, touch screen on it and everything. It is a nice machine. So you got to pick what you want.
Yeah. I don't think you could go wrong with it at all.
I don't think. I think it has an 11-inch throat.
Yeah, I think it's 11-inch throat.
Yeah. So it's a nice machine.
Yep. Elsie says 6700p is a tank. It is. It works so well. I mean, we've had that machine now for 5 years.
However, I think the 9450 will do as much as the
and possibly more
as the
6700p.
Yeah, it doesn't. 6700p doesn't have the touch screen.
No, so. And Elsie, the AccuFeed is a good feature. It's a very good feature. Dennis, 119 watching, only 42 thumbs up. I guess that's hi Dana. Okay, more thumbs up, people. More likes. Yeah. And Inez, hi Inez, loves the mirror quilt and everything. Okay, so Walter worked on another project today. Our next door neighbor had a sewing machine that's got to be 50, 60 years old. It's an old Singer. Well, I'll show you a picture of what it looks like. She got this idea. We're not even sure if she sews. Yeah, okay, I'm quite aware. Did you stop trying to control things?
There we go.
Jeez. Freak. Okay, so this is what the little sucker looks like. And look at it. You can tell. See, it's called the Genie, but it's a Singer. But look at the color. Look at the graphics on it. Doesn't that just reek laughing? For those of you that know what I mean. On there, it looks very, very, 60-ish, early 70s in style. But anyways.
Well, my next door neighbor said that.
Jump right in.
Yeah, I will.
Good. You do that.
Well, what are you going to do?
I wasn't. I was going to say, well, Walter can tell you, but you jumped in beforehand.
Yeah,
like, as if
so anyway, I talked to her, and she said that she couldn't get it to sew, and it was her mother's. She couldn't get it to sew, and it. She thought it was a tension problem. So I said to her, "Well, when's the last time you cleaned it out, and when's the last time you oiled it?" Yeah. And she sort of looked at me with the big question mark, is like, you got to oil it. And, or you got to clean it out. And so I thought, okay, it's probably needs to be oiled. Because that's generally what happens with those machines as they dry out. And if you haven't used it in a long time. She wanted to teach her granddaughter how to sew. And so, I don't know how much sewing she does.
Yeah, I think she's good with the glue gun.
But anyway, I said to her, she originally asked me where she could take it to get it serviced. And I suggested Ultimate Sewing. They have reasonable prices, and they service any kind of machine.
And their technician that does the servicing is very, very good. Very knowledgeable.
He's been around for a long time. He's serviced a lot of different machines. The only thing is that you're going to have to pay whatever the going rate is for them to at least look at it, which is $80, $90, I don't know, $100 or whatever, right? And then parts or whatever, right? So I said to her, it's probably just needs oil. I said, I can do that for you. I can look at it, at least try and evaluate what I think is wrong with it, right? And so I told her a couple of times, and she decided, yeah, okay, you can look at it for me, right? And I did. And yeah, it was a little crunchy sounding when I first turned it on.
Well, first of all, when you got it, it had a cover on it, and we couldn't figure out how to get the cover off.
Yeah. It came with this cover on it, and I was trying to figure out how to get the cover off. Well, I guess there's a little push button that you push. And you figured that out. Anyway, so it slid off, and it was kind of a neat little outfit in that the cover held the foot pedal and the cord and everything inside, and it had the original manual and stuff like that in there. And so I pulled it apart, and I turned it on, and I just briefly ran it for a second, and it sounded a little rough. So I went in and I opened it up, and it showed the oiling points and everything. So I went in and oiled it and ran it again some more, and it sounded a lot better.
Yeah, it's purring like a kitten now.
It sounded a lot better. So then I started doing some. First of all, I had to figure out how to thread it. The manual was not good at that, and it's been a long time since I threaded an older machine. It did have a top-loading bobbin, which I was quite surprised at. Usually the older machines have a side-loading bobbin.
Did you take the bobbin case right out?
Yes, I did.
And it has a little wick?
No, there was no little wick, so I don't know. There's a hole, but I don't know.
I wonder if the wick is missing. That might be.
But anyway, so it didn't say that there was a wick. It
well,
just
maybe
showed a
maybe
hole,
maybe they didn't do those.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I took out the bobbin case and everything else, and it was actually very clean inside, so it would indicate it
hadn't been used much.
And I did oil it. It ran good, and I started sewing with it, and it actually works really good.
And
it doesn't do much. It just does. It just has a stitch length on it, and it has a reverse button, and it'll do a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch.
Yeah. Now, when you were playing around with it, you saw that they had the tension right up to the highest.
Yeah, the tension was up between 7 and 8, and well, it'll break your needle. It'll break your thread having it up that high. So I dropped it right down to, actually I had it at 0 at one point, but I found the best seemed to be around 2.
And you put a new needle in it too,
and I put a new needle into it just to make sure. I didn't know how old the needle was that was in there, and rewound the bobbin and threaded it, and it works dandy.
So I suggested to Walter that what he'd do, because we're not really sure what the neighbor's expertise is on sewing at all. So I said, why don't you put some sticky notes into the little manual for some of the basics, so for quick reference, like threading your machine, put a little sticky note in there, and on the top of it, write threading, kind of thing, winding a bobbin, tension, that kind of thing. You did that, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that she can, figure it out. But I have heard that the old singers still go strong. That lots of people swear by them.
Just to make sure the tension was right, I put white thread on the top thread, and I threaded the bobbin with a gold color so that I could see if it was stitching properly or not. So,
and Mary says, Barb says she still has her Elna from the 1950s and still works. Yeah. And Mary says, hi Mary, I have an old Elna from the 1950s, has hundreds of stitches built in, plus the discs for embroidery. I loved it till bobbin screws stripped. Yeah, well, they don't make the machines today like these old machines where they, I hear this all the time. People find these old ones. Maybe that's why people want old vintage machines. Julie says, sticky note idea is a really good one, Stephen. Thank you. Em says, don't buy from Temu, please, for more reasons than I can share. Oh, okay. Why, Em? We're curious now. Does it have anything to do with, child labor or anything like that? Kind of a thing? Is it a sort of a political kind of deal or whatnot? I mean, I wouldn't doubt it with it. So anyways, yeah, so I guess you took it over and she was as happy as pig and shit, yeah. Right? Okay. Over, so that's great. Now the next thing is she'll come over and
there is a possibility that she didn't thread it properly, so.
Well, yeah, because you had some problems threading
Well,
it too.
yeah, well, it's mainly
very
because I'm
bizarre.
not used to the older machines, and I sort of remember my mother's machine threading that way, and there's steps that you could easily miss. There's a really strange um, uh, hole. You know how your threading normally goes down, and then you right at near the needle, there's a spot where you have to put the thread down in there, and it looks a little weird down there, but it works okay. So
yeah. So, anyways, yep. Now, turning our attention to our peppers, I have a picture. Our first harvest of our peppers. And here they are. We have a couple of green ones and a couple of red ones as well. The red ones are a little smaller, but we were using them the other night. We still have lots of peppers coming on, and this is all under the grow lights, but they're doing really well. And we're saving the seeds from them too, so that we can continue to plant
well,
them.
I don't know if the seeds are any good at this point, but I thought I'd try it.
Well, they probably, once they dry out a little bit, I don't know. It's an experiment.
Yeah.
Why is it that you insist upon, you would never have made a scientist because you don't like to experiment.
No, okay.
You always poop pot before you've actually gone through the whole experiment. I don't get it. Anyways, the peppers are great. It's nice having your own, and they're organic because we don't spray them or anything like that. But sadly, although it's coming back on again, Walter's trying to kill my celery. I thought that maybe the celery should go under the grow lights. This is the piece I cut off the end of a celery stalk that I bought in the grocery store, and it rooted. It was coming up. It was looking pretty good. Put it in underneath with the tomatoes and everything, and then Walter filled the thing full of water, and I don't know if it either got overwatered or maybe there's too much light, but I brought it back upstairs to see if it would rejuvenate. I think
it's too much light because I put it in a spot where there wasn't any water, and I was wondering if it wasn't getting enough water. But anyway, I think we've got the lights on a timer, and they give you how long do you have the light on for?
16 hours.
16 hours. Some vegetables and that don't like that long.
Maybe the celery doesn't like that. Elsie says, Steve, you're so considering adding the sticky note. Some people love the idea of sewing but lack confidence. The guidance you give is probably greater appreciated. Good for your neighbor's soul. Yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling she gets these ideas, kind of, how sometimes people get these great ideas. She's going to teach your granddaughter how to sew. And then in reality, maybe it doesn't always work out, but whatever.
Well, at least I saved her a trip to, really, to take that machine in to get it looked at. I think in her kit situation, it might have been a waste of $100 type.
Well, yeah, it would have been. Yeah,
I got it working pretty good for nothing. So,
well, he wouldn't let me go near it because it was his project on that. But I'm fascinated with the idea of fixing sewing machines. I would dearly love to take a course in that, because I find them kind of fascinating. I don't like car engines and things like that. I'd never touch those, but something like this I'd be interested in. But I don't know. It's not easy to find a course in fixing sewing machines that's, close to us or whatever, and there doesn't even seem to be a lot of them online. I did a search, and but whatever. Walter had good intentions, Elsie says. His intentions was to kill my plants. You don't know how evil he really is. Yes, this face, this innocent looking face, this Mr. Magoo looking face. Yeah. Yeah. Derek says, I just started off chili pepper seeds in my grow light system to see how well they do. Yeah.
They may take a little while to germinate.
Yeah, the peppers that we grew, they took quite a while to germinate. Okay. Yeah. We planted those in March.
Yeah, peppers take, even last year when I did peppers outside, it took a long time for the seeds to germinate.
Yeah. But, now when we come back from the East Coast, then we'll get our container garden going then. We didn't want to do it when we left because, it needs to be watered every day because it has a western exposure and it's on our deck, and you can fry an egg on our deck. So, yeah. We actually saw in Costco the other day something that looked really interesting. It was almost an impulse buy. They had these large containers for planting for, doing what we do, but they were raised up like they were on sort of a stand, and they had shelf underneath them, and they looked pretty good. They were like $140, weren't they? $130 or something for one. And I thought, well, those would look nice on the deck instead of all the other little ones we have. But then we got thinking about it and thought, no, because that's going to be kind of pricey. And do we really need it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But it was one of those things, you see and go, oh my God, it's at Costco. Let's get it. Kind of a thing. Cheryl says, Evil would be making you swim trunks with dissolvable thread. First of all, Cheryl, you will never see me in swim trunks. Water and I do not mix, okay, at all. And
well, that's only if you're not an exhibitionist.
And second of all, you would not want to see me in swim trunks. I can guarantee it. There'd only be one thing worse than seeing me in swim trunks. It would be him. So, whatever. Let's see. Aaron says there are a multitude of classes and YouTube videos for fixing featherweights. Yeah, I'm not interested though in the featherweight per se. I'm interested in sort of a general course about modern sewing machines for that kind of thing. But I don't know. It's one of those things, who knows? Maybe someday I will, maybe someday I won't. I don't know.
Actually, we're watching that repair guy or whatever. He takes
that one. He hasn't had any videos lately.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen anything from him because he was kind of interesting. Anyways, talking about new things, Walter bought something last week. It hasn't arrived yet because it has to be built and not by us. Walter got a shed. He bought himself a she shed. Yeah. Although he's not going to have she shed.
Well, for years, we've been living in this house for years, and I always wanted to get a garden shed, put the gardening supplies in and that. But I keep procrastinating, and not because I don't really want to.
28 years of procrastinating.
Or first of all, it was money that I didn't want to spend the money, and then it became the more like, okay, do I want to really do this or build it or whatever and stuff like that. So,
and he did what he usually does on things like this. Hims and haws. Do you think I should buy one? He doesn't really care about my opinion. All he's looking for is reinforcement of what he's already made his mind up to do. And I go, you want to get it, buy it. Go for it.
So I did.
You're not getting any younger.
So it's coming June 27th. So that'll be nice to get rid of some of
They build it on June the 27th. Yeah. Well, it's a prefab kind of thing. And then on the day after that, they're supposed to come and put the siding on it because he got the vinyl siding upgraded package for it as well. I mean, it's the guest house. It's 8 by 12. It's a good size. And so, yeah, we're finally going to be shed owners. Yeah, because we give a shed. We really do. How about that? Stephanie says, does that mean that you don't shower? I might be having second thoughts about meeting you in person. Oh, no, I just scrape. When things get thick enough, you just scrape it off. It's not a problem, So, removes body hair and everything all at once, yeah.
Yes, he definitely showers. Otherwise, he wouldn't be with me.
Really? Well, you're so complimentary these days. Not at all. He tells me to go away when he's working on a sewing machine.
Well, you're hovering. I hate it when people hover.
I was doing a video. Okay. What more? Have a YouTube channel. People want to see. I was showing them. Anyways, Derek says, I tore down my garden shed during lockdown, welding my mighty hammer. It was falling down as previous owners never maintained it. I have still to get around to replacing it. Yeah.
Well, that's why I bought the siding because,
he wants low maintenance.
Low maintenance, yeah.
With it all. So speaking of low maintenance, Walter took his car in because we're going to be taking that to the East Coast very soon. And they had to have a brake job, and then of
Well, I had
course
to have the brakes serviced.
and we talked about this on So Chatty, so I'm not going to go through it all again, but bottom line was we get it home and he finds a puddle underneath it on the driver's side or the passenger side. I'm trying to figure out what this puddle is, looking at the color
Yeah,
of
I know.
it.
Like when I went that night after the car repair to a memorial service for a coworker that passed away, and I took one of my old coworkers with me to go to the memorial service. We got back out to the car, and there's a huge puddle of liquid dripping out of my car, and I'm going, uh-oh, what's that? So I ran my fingers through it and stuff, and at first I thought there was yellow residue, but I wasn't sure. And it felt like a type of water, but I wasn't sure.
Well, it wasn't antifreeze because I tasted it. Of course, antifreeze is poisonous.
Yeah, I know. Why would you do that? Yeah, so was windshield washer fluid.
Well, you told me to. You said,
I
here,
didn't
take a
say
sip of
that.
this.
Didn't say that.
Okay.
So anyway, I brought it home, and my car was sitting a little bit on an incline at home, whereas it was more level at the memorial service. And it dripped some more. And this time it was clear liquid, and it had a slight purple tinge to it, which indicated to me that it was windshield washer fluid, because my windshield washer fluid was purple. So anyway, and in Canada we have to have 40 below windshield washer because it'll otherwise it'll freeze, right? So anyway,
moving on.
I took it to the dealership again, and told them that this is what I found. And so they proceeded to look at it, and they came back and said to me, oh, a mouse nest we found a mouse nest near it, and they must have chewed on the one of the tubes that were coming out of the windshield washer container. And I said, well, I brought it in for service. It wasn't leaking before, and it's not leaking after. So how come this happened right now?
If I'd been there, I would have said to them, okay, let me see the picture. Send it to my phone, please, right now. Because you don't know whether or not that picture was some picture from something else, whether it was your car. Second of all, would have said, well, yeah, when I park my car out in the back 40 in a field and leave it there for 8 months and never drive it anywhere, I could see having a mouse nest. But it's in my driveway. It's not in a field, and I drive it every day, several times a day, and I don't think there's going to be many mice left after that, if that's the case in there. In other words, they were bullshitting him.
Yeah.
You know, why couldn't they be just honest and say, oh, we must have accidentally knocked that. We've got it all fixed for you now, sir. So sorry about that. Because by being honest and upfront about it, then trying to give you a bullshit story that there's mice eating
First
your
of all,
car.
the first thing they sent me was a report when I had the car serviced that said there were no leaks in my car. That everything, including the windshield wiper fluid, everything, nothing was leaking, right? And then I get it home and it's leaking. So to me, they did something that they must have hit a tube or something like that, and it started leaking. That's obvious that had happened. So why can't they take ownership for that? So now they turn around now because they've done that. I didn't trust them before. I definitely don't trust them now. So
yeah. So anyways, that's just the typical service that this particular dealership for Honda gives. It's not good. Years ago, actually, I had my car serviced by Honda and got it out on the road, and it was making this horrible noise and grinding. I went way back into the dealership. Yeah, they kind of forgot to put in, I think it was my power steering fluid.
No, that was Canadian Tire.
Was that Canadian Tire?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. So, yeah, kind of forgot something that kind of important, right, on it. I don't trust any of them. I really don't with it. Yeah, Stephanie. So, yeah, she says they knocked something loose. Yeah, they did. It's not mice. It's not mice. Now, somebody did write a comment about that on So Chatty, because we talked about it, and somebody called Raging Smirk. I live in the country. Mice chewing car lines is really normal. Just replaced my squirter water line. Yeah, but here's the thing. You live in the country. There's like lots of vermin out there in the whole bit. We don't. We live in the city. You know, like it's, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I would have understood that if it was leaking before I took it in for service, right?
Yeah.
And they found a mouse nest. But I had it in for service. There was no leak there, right? They did some work on my brakes, and they did some work on steering rod is near, and both those items are right near the water reservoir, right? And it started leaking right after. So to me, they hit something. That's not mice.
Yeah. So anyways, bull roar on all of that is what I say. I mean, yes, it is possibility of it happening. Like Brenda says here, we were on our way to have the car checked and serviced and stopped. A rat ran out. The dealership found 6 little pinkies in the nest. We use the car almost every day. It can happen. But no, for reasons already that lead up to
and not only that, they didn't charge me to fix it.
Well, I would say not. I guess not. Dana says she won't go back there. Yeah, that's true. And then Barb says, I find it hard to believe when the car was hoisted, they didn't see the nest. Yeah, I know. This is the thing. There's all this other stuff, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's not an entire impossibility that could happen, but with all the other evidence of what they were doing beforehand and that, it just seems that's a far-fetched story in this case. Marilyn says, why didn't they inform you about the mouse nest when you had it serviced? That would have been, yeah. Exactly. Well, they would have pulled the damn nest out, I would have assumed too. Andy says, one time the Honda dealership repair guys didn't fasten down my hood. The hood flipped up on me while I was on the highway. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yep. Oh, Nadia's here. Hi, Nadia. That's them admitting they did it without admitting it. Yeah, exactly, Stephanie. With that. Okay, so anyways, we're coming to the end of our time, but we just want to talk a little bit about our plans coming up for the East Coast. We leave for the East Coast next Sunday. So that means we will not be doing Stephen and Walter live next week. Will we be doing a Stephen and Walter live when we're on the East Coast? Maybe. We might. It's going to depend on the technology and our access to good internet service and all that kind of stuff. Ideally, she doesn't know this yet, but I'd really like if we can squeeze it in, and given all things important, I'd like to do a live with Stephanie. I haven't told her that yet. Oops, bag question. It's out of the bag now, but we'll see how that all works out.
Yeah.
We will be doing videos like we did with the West Coast when we're out at the East Coast as much as we possibly can. Again, technology is the big factor. Now, also, while we're away, the first Wednesday in June will occur, which is 1 week from this Wednesday coming. Well, we'll be in the East Coast. That's Craft and Chat Day. So we won't be doing Craft and Chat. And that would also be a day when we have Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, but there won't be one of those either because Stephanie will be out in Halifax at that point in time too. So plan ahead, people, for all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to have a meet and greet with other people who are coming out there, and you know who you are. We're going to get to meet Ron face to face and his wife Joan. We're going to get to meet Colleen at some point in Prince Edward Island. That's going to be exciting. Possibility of meeting up with Heidi out in St. John's, the one with the S's, Nova Scotia, right? Or no, New Brunswick. The one with St. John without the S is Newfoundland, isn't it?
I can't remember.
I always get the two mixed up. I don't know. It's a letter difference. No, Julie, Jan can't host the Craft and Chat because it's not hers. Also, Jan does not have...
St. John's is Newfoundland.
Oh, okay. So it's St. John we're going to.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But seriously, Julie, no, she has to have her own Zoom link for that. I mean, if Jan has a Zoom link or anybody else does that wants to do that, but I will put my foot down. You cannot call it Craft and Chat. That's mine. It's trademarked to me. Sorry. That's the way it goes. Yeah, Stephanie says she'll be on a plane on the one for the day of the Wednesday that we're talking about there as well. That's when she comes out. Mary says, I'll be in New Brunswick the end of June. Oh, well, we're going to miss you, Mary, because we'll be gone by then. Yeah, St. John's, Newfoundland, Karen says, and St. John, New Brunswick. Yeah, get that right. Okay. So anyways, yeah, that's the plans coming up. There will be my vlog tomorrow. There will be Idiot Quilter. There will be So Chatty next week. But there will not be a Stephen and Walter live. At least not from this location. Okay? Or on Sunday. Because we'll be heading towards Quebec City. Well, actually, that our first day will be to Quebec City. Because we've got 2 nights in Quebec City. And then we're off to Fredericton. 1 night in Fredericton. Then we'll be in Halifax. And we're in Halifax for what? 3 nights? 4 nights?
Halifax, yeah, we will be there 4 nights.
I keep asking you for a written itinerary,
yeah,
but
okay,
I have not
4
seen
nights.
that yet. 4 nights. And then from there we go to PEI.
Right.
Okay, and we're in PEI for 2 nights. 1 night in Charlottetown. That's when we're
2 nights in Charlottetown.
Oh, 2 nights in Charlottetown. Oh,
1 in Summerside.
Okay, 1 in Summerside. Then we head over to St. John's, New Brunswick, right?
St. John, New Brunswick.
St. John, New Brunswick. one there. Okay, fine. Anyways, and then how many nights do we have in St. John?
2.
2 nights. And then from there we make the long haul to Quebec again, don't we?
Yeah, we stay a night there and then we drive home.
Then we come home. So that's our itinerary, people, for that. So we're over time today. So thanks, Teresa. The apostrophe's on the end of the country, or rather the beginning. St. John. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, that's a way to remember it. So anyways, bye everybody. Have a great week coming up, and we'll see you on the regular things next week, and then after that we'll see you from the East Coast. So talk to you later. So bye everybody. Thanks. Bye bye.